Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. Before we start, just a quick disclaimer: anything we discuss, anything I teach you, anything I show you in these recaps and videos, everything is for education only. It's educational content, nothing is financial advice. Always understand the risk in the markets before you do anything. So take everything as an educational content. We are not financial advisors. All right. So guys, decent day today. Failed all-time high breakout. So, but there were a bunch of runners today. Relative strength. Tesla short, NVDA long. So I have a bunch of things we need to discuss today. We'll go through that. Before we do that, let's do a quick introduction. Introduction for anybody who's new to our X accounts, new to our YouTube, or new to our community. So all these trade recaps and all these teachings that I do every day with you guys, everything is based upon a repeatable system called Ripster EMA Cloud system, which thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently. We do not trade random. We do not just trade on gut feelings. We do not trade because we like something. Anything we buy, sell, short is based upon our repeatable system. Not only Ripster EMA Cloud system, the various concepts that I have been teaching from years and years and years. So those concepts we apply, So system is how you trade, setup is what you trade. So how do you find the setups? The setups we find with the planning. Either you do a weekly planning, for your swings, investments, or you do everyday planning. So every setup we find is based upon our planning. So every morning, me and my team, we are up in the market, in the pre-market, planning for the day. We are planning for the day. So we make a plan for the day. The plan can include earning plays, it can include news plays, index stocks. We have an initial plan. We have a support level, we have a resistance level, and then we have the initial game plan for the day. And I do try to highlight anything which I think would be a good setup to play, and anything that triggers, everything will not trigger from the game plan. You have to analyze it at the open. Anything that triggers and looks like a good setup, I guide that setup to my traders in the community. We have losers, we have winners, but our losers are small because our system keeps it tight, and our winners are usually bigger because our system gives us bigger winners. So anyways, that's how we plan in the pre-market. That's what we provide to our community members. I often tweet it out for my followers as well. In addition to that, we also do something called day 2, day 3 repeatable strategy. So day 2, day 3 repeatable strategy, another strategy that I invented that I did a free webinar on. We provide these day 2, day 3 stickers. We will discuss few of these, very important today. We'll discuss few of these day 2, day 3 setups today. And we provide the pre-market notes so that the traders can find those setups and trade them themselves. Using various concepts of Ripster clouds, Ripster MTF clouds. I even did a webinar on that. We also provide the levels for the index stocks, SPY, QQQ, MAG 7. Anybody who wants to trade Apple, Microsoft, AMD, NVIDIA, they can follow these levels and they can trade themselves. In addition to that, we also trade futures. The futures levels are also provided to the community in the pre-market, and we also explain what is an A+ setup, what is a B- setup, so that the traders know what setup to take. We also trade crypto stocks. We provide the crypto levels to the traders in the pre-market as well. So everything is planned, right? You just need to focus what you want to trade on. We have a lot of tickers we track. I track over 50, 100 tickers all day, but I guide a lot of tickers to the community all day, but it depends what you want to trade on. We have a lot of tools in our community. We have 3-4 option flow scanners, help us catch those plays. We have free stock scanners, breaking news alerts, audio stock alerts. We have the scanner alerts. We have halt, unhalt, and EMA cloud alerts. And of course, we have, and I'm on voice in first few hours of the market open. Our trading floor is one of the biggest online. We have thousands of traders on our trading floor all day long, sharing ideas, trading ideas with the community, finding those opportunities to find opportunities to trade in the market. So that being said, I'm going to show you my timestamped guidance that I guide the traders, losers and winners, so you guys can use these teachings to be independent. That's what we try to do. That's what I've been trying to do for years, teaching freely. Of course, I still teach freely, and also in the community to make everybody independent, self-dependent trader who can trade with a system that has changed lives rather than just following alerts. We are not an alert service. All right, let's start. All right, so let's start with the QQQ, SPY QQQ. Our focus was on QQ today, right? Because we were looking to trade this all-time high breakout. We discussed this yesterday as well. We were looking to trade this all-time high breakout. We had a plan in the pre-market to trade this all-time high breakout long if the VIX breaks 17, right, or stays lower than 17, and SPY pushes over yesterday's highs, QQQ pushes over yesterday's highs. It retests yesterday highs and breaks out of the all-time high, we will long it. So that was our plan. We were going to watch Magnificent 7, we were going to watch semiconductors, finance sectors, and use all the concepts of trend move, amateur move, 10 AM concept, and also the VIX concepts. So all the concepts this was our plan to trade it. So let's see what happened when the market opened. I'm going to focus more on QQQs here. So let's see. The one thing was the gap up kind of spoiled the breakout setup. I would have loved the market to not gap up, and so that we could trade that from the flat for the breakout. The market had already gapped up, so that kind of took a meat away, and that kind of extended a lot of stocks which were gapping up. So the profit taking started and the breakout failed. So, and we lost. I mean, that's fine. And we were green for a bit, but we lost. We are looking for a trend move. Let me show you. So as soon as the market opened, I told the traders to long versus 542s. It pushed from 543, 42s towards 543s, pulled back. We stopped out on 542s. It did try to reclaim, and we tried to trade that again. Then we finally stopped out when you see this breaking down 512. After that, I was not interested, although it faded from the 512 clouds. Very choppy fade. You could trade it. I mean, if you kept stops really high, but it was not a clean trend downtrend. It did fill the gap. Basically what it did was it filled the gap. You see that? So it filled the gap. But the point was we were trying to trade all-time high breakout. I even talked about it. If you see my tweets today, what I talked about, it was, I was kind of cautious, when you spent so many years just mastering the price action of the market, you can have a feel that is it if it's too easy. Nothing is too easy in the market. So the breakout felt a little too easy to me, and I was a little cautious, and even I tweeted about it that, let me see if I can show you that. All right, let's see here. Okay, breakout longs this morning, little too easy. My guard is always up when I make easy trades like that. So you see it was little too easy. Nice breakout. And what happened was VIX bounced in the 17 and market pulled back. VIX bounced 17 and market pulled back. And then we failed, right? That's it. After that, you have to do nothing. You take a loss, 30%, 20, 30% if you're trading options, take a dollar loss on your ETFs, and just move on, right? We just took the loss and we moved on, because we know when we get a big bullish day, we will going to make 5 times more. So that's no problem there. So you, as a trader, trader, market trader, futures trader, you need to understand the market environment and the concept. And why did the breakout fail? Many reasons. Basically, Mag 7 was weak. Cloud stocks were profit taking. All the runners from yesterday were profit taking. That's why we were weak. We will talk about a lot of them. Snow, CRM, Coin, a bunch of other names were just profit taking. I think Dow Jones might be weak too as well. Only strong was semiconductors. And even in semis, not everything was strong. NVDA was the strongest one. So, so we'll see how that goes. We'll review some of these names, right? So that was just basically the failed breakout, and doesn't mean it can't break out tomorrow. Maybe we very well can break out tomorrow. The setup is still intact, but the key today is to not to get biased. There are few traders who are getting biased, getting like crazy bias, chasing. SPY, I was not even interested too much on SPY, but you can't. There was a trader who said he lost his whole last week's gains on this push, on this pullback. You should never ever lose your whole week's gain with one trade. You should always lose the same amount. That can never happen. I cover that extensively in risk management videos and risk management calls. You can never let one trade wipe off your, then your size is a problem. Your problem is not setup. Your problem is not your ticker. Oh, I picked the wrong stock to trade. I picked the wrong day to trade. I'm always late. I FOMO'd. That's not your problem. Even if you FOMO'd, you shouldn't be losing that much. Your problem is size. So size is your problem. If this 20 minute action on SPY, you lost your whole 2 weeks worth of gain because you went put your whole portfolio in like SPX longs, then the problem is your sizing and your risk management. Forget setups, forget system, just first fix your sizing. That's the biggest point. Anyways, that was just wanted to cover this failed breakout on QQQ. Let's move forward. All right, so let's start with NVIDIA here. Okay, so let's start with NVIDIA. Let's see what was happening with NVIDIA. I was personally not really that. I was a little cautious on NVIDIA, but the flow was just insane. And this is when, see, flow is something which is not, it's secondary. First, you see the price action. If the price action makes sense to you, then flow comes handy. Sometimes people get too biased on the flow. I mean, the flow today, let me see if I can show you the tools we were using there. We use there were a lot of flow on Ghost board as well, and there was a lot of flow on other tools as well. It was just an insane amount of flow. The first thing I noticed today, this morning, was so first thing I noticed, we have a bunch of tools, Ghost board or in-house. The flow was coming in right at the open. You can see 940, insane amount of flow was coming in. We'll look at the pre-market plan in a bit. And then also I was looking at some of our other tools there. Let's see if I can show you there. Let's see here if we can take a look. So these were some more flows coming in. You can see those calls were at 28 cents. They went all the way to 153.66, went all the way to $3. These were all at the open, right? You see the 931, 930. These were all at the open. And I saw that. And that's when I told the traders, it's insane amount of flow, guys. Insane amount of flow. So that's when you see this kind of flow again and again, repeat flow. That gives you a little more confidence that this can be a great setup. So let's look at the pre-market plan on NVIDIA. The pre-market plan, Loop Capital, not a tier 1, but funnily, whenever Loop Capital says something, we have seen a big move on a lot of stocks. Anyways, the support was 149.4850, target resistance was 150. It was just a little extended in pre-market. I wanted a pullback to long it, and I said watch flow. Look at that. I said watch flow in the pre-market only. I said the same thing on Tesla a few days ago, and the same thing happened on Tesla when the Tesla ran. You can go back and look at that recap. Why did I say flow? Because I know when something is at such a key level, all-time high breakout, close to that level, the flow is very important. So guys, so I just showed you the flow, right? Then I told the traders, yes, you can long it. I was personally not interested in it initially, but when I saw the flow, I saw the swipe, I told the traders the flow is coming in, long, stops 150. If you're adding here, stops 150. If you're adding here, your stops should be right here at the opening price. And then Ghost board comes with more flow, and then we've got this flag break. I told the traders it's a flag break. I told the traders they can trade leverage ETF NVDL if they want, and it did. And there's something happened in the middle of the day. We'll talk about it. So you could trade NVDL. You see, we broke here, right? We broke on NVIDIA, and that's fine. We exit there, but when you see the reclaims, you see there we broke, and then we curled. There was a reclaim. You get back in. There's a concept that I say, if you see this concept, once we break the 512 clouds, when it reclaims, it's even more bullish. That's what happened. Even more bullish. So that's when I told the traders that now we're going to get that 155 target that I gave in the morning. And then we finally almost hit. We didn't really completely hit it, but I continuously talk about the flow, insane flow. Then we broke out the flag at 154. As we broke this flag, then I gave the stops at 153. And then another flag, and it was just insane amount of, and then at the end it broke 512. You could exit it, or if you have a good entry, you could swing it for tomorrow. But 1455 flow was a lot of flow there, right? So you see that, guys, how the pre-market planning comes handy, how we track the flow, how we see the price action, how we see the candles, how we see the clouds. This is how you do it, right? And not all the semis were strong. AMD was a decent day 2 push as well, but not as strong as NVIDIA. So that's how we did it, guys. Pre-market planning, live guidance. I showed you the flow and a lot of things I mentioned on the voice. Beautiful winner for everybody in the community. The options went couple 100% as well, and leverage ETF trade was good too. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, so yeah, you see that 155 was the target that I gave right here as well. All right, let's look at the next trade. All right, so let's look at Tesla now. I mean, Tesla has been so easy for last 3 days. If you have been watching my recaps, if you have been studying what I've been teaching, you pretty much nailed Tesla today, right? So let's go back to Tesla. Right at the open, I told, let's look at the pre-market planning first. Pre-market planning on Tesla was pretty simple. Bullish bias to long as over F the MTF, no go under it. If it's over the MTF, we will long it. If it's not over MTF, we will not long it. We'll short it. But it had a bad news, right? This European sales fell 27%, so that was a bad news. But it was gapping up on the bad news. Now that's why we had a bullish bias. But as soon as it breaks the MTF cloud, guys, that's it. No long. MTF short. Short right here, 340. Take a short right away. Hit it. 338 support breaks, we go lower. Stops 342. Cover some at 336. 330 target under 332s. Sell half there. Cover most, leave rest for the MTF, right? Leave rest for the MTF. We hit the MTFs right here, 20 EMA on the daily chart. We hit on the target. The final next target I gave was 322.50. We hit 322.50. Next target I gave was 320. We hit 320. And you know, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trade here. It rejected the clouds again as well here. If you see that, it rejected the clouds again here. Still bearish, rejecting, and finally it curled and we got stopped out. And now you can see that this was such a great trade. You know, it's all about size. Size small, look for a bigger win. Let's say you were in 330 puts, which is usually 100% risk. Even if you got it for $3, when $12, right? You know, it's your $1,000 became $3,000, right? So that's kind of trade you want to do if you're trading options. If you trade leverage ETFs, or you could trade TSLQ, you know, you buy a couple thousand shares, you make a couple grand, risking $300-400 right here. And TSLQ was towards the MTF long, towards the upside, right? That was the long towards the upside. So that's what I've been teaching you in last couple of days, how to make a living trading Tesla, and our system has been flawless. I showed you the trade long, I showed you the live trade short, I showed you the trade down, right? Everything. And not only that, if you go to if you go to my Twitter, the first thing I tweeted this morning was Tesla heaviest, NVIDIA strongest. I mentioned those two things, and you could see that at the end of the day, that was a home run for everyone. That's how you grow your account, trading A+ setups. Tesla, MTF break, bearish news. You know, I didn't even look at put flow on Tesla. I really didn't need to, because there was a bearish news and it was MTF breakdown and it was so heavy, no bounce at all. That's how you get the confidence. That's how you make home runs, guys. Beautiful trade, Tesla short, 3 days in a row, hat trick for us. Let's go to the next one. All right, so let's look at the next one. The next one we're going to look at is Google. So Google was another MTF long here, right here for MTF clouds, 1 hour MTF cloud. Let's look at the plan on Google. The levels we had on Google was in the pre-market right here, 168, 168.22. So those 168.22, this was our level right here. You can see that, and it was 168.30, 168.22 was yesterday's highs. As soon as it starts to push over yesterday highs and pre-market high, it becomes long. You see right away I told the traders 1 hour MTF long, the first target upper MTF. So if you see that we push from that 168.20, hit 170, you make a dollar and a half. You take some off, pulls back to 512, no stopping out, held 512. You add that dip, you hold that dip, right back to the MTF. Then we move the stops to 169. You see where my stops were? 169. When you started to push here at 10 a.m., you put your stops at 169. As it started to push over the MTF, we moved stops at 170. You see the pullback to the MTF, retest. This is called the concept of retest. And then we push higher again to high of the day. Beautiful, beautiful trade, almost $3 to $4 per share profit. Amazing, amazing MTF long setup, guys. Can't get better than this. MTF magnet, MTF to MTF, 1 hour MTF, upper MTF. Beautiful, guys. So proud of our system. When it works flawlessly. You just need to hold your winners, and you can literally change your life using the system. System is free. You don't really need to join my community for this. I have always been teaching this free. But Amazing day for us in the community. All right, so let's look at next one. Next one we're going to look at is AVGO. AVGO was a loser for us today. We were looking for this all-time high breakout long, but did not work. 267, 268, pushed to 269. I mean, there was time to get off with some 10 a.m. profit because we take profits at 10 a.m., but then it puked back and we lost a couple of dollars and we exited. That was the loss here. It looked like it was working in the morning, because I had it on the pre-market plan right here, all-time high test. Already up in the pre-market, long pullback if SAMI is strong. Only NVIDIA was strong, not all SAMIs were that strong. But, you long here and I guess you sell a little bit. But when you see these candles, you get out, Ideally, should have been like a small loss because, your entry should be right here and not here, because then that's a problem. If you don't get a entry closer to the clouds, then it's a serious problem. All right, so next one we're going to look at is Lilly. So let's see what was planned on Lilly. So Lilly was our MTF confluence. Remember, we lost on Lilly a few days back here. Not today. Why? Because today Lilly initially didn't do anything. Let's look here. So Lilly was on a game plan, highlighted as a red. MTF confluence trade versus 1 hour. That was the pre-market plan. MTF confluence trade versus 1 hour. So let's see what Lilly did. I actually set up the alerts for my community that once it breaks the pivot, we should know. You see that as soon as it hit that pivot, 783, you could long it here, but there was no volume yet, no trend yet. You could easily long it because we had a plan to long it in the pre-market. You can see those levels, 781. You could long here and use the stops right here, 3450, or 1 hour MTF clouds. But one MTF held, second MTF held, and this was the breakout. Now you long here, then your stops need to be under 780. So the alert started to go on. My breakout alert started to go. I told the traders this is MTF breakout. It held the breakout. I gave the stops of 783. Two targets I gave, 790 and 795. We hit 790, we hit 795. We even hit our 798 target. We didn't really hit 800 target. It happens sometime because it doesn't really have to go all the way, but it comes back, and then we stopped out at end of the day. So you see you could literally make $15-16. You didn't even need to catch the bottom on this name, right? Even if you trade 800 calls, right? They went from they went from $3 to $8-9, right? 100% on the call options there. So it's a beautiful trade, beautiful. I'm very proud of it because Lilly was an MTF confluence. That's the beauty of the system, guys. You will not find a system like this anywhere. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at next one. Next one was AVAV. AVAV was our earning play. Let's look at that. AVAV beat expectations. Bullish bias to long versus 200. No go under. But what happened was it was a little hard. It went very fast right out of the open. You cannot size too much. This candle kind of spoiled our setup. You see this initial candle at 920 completely spoiled our setup. But regardless, you could still long it. And I gave the targets of 245. We had a flag break here. I told traders there's a flag. And this was 232. Yeah, it was 232, not 222. And the flag break. The targets, you see, I gave the targets of 245, then I gave target of 250. If you see that, I gave those targets way early at 940 at this candle, and in next two candles we hit both the targets. So that was another winner in the community for us on AVAV. All right, let's look at next one. We're going to look at is FedEx. So FedEx was our earning play, right? The short didn't work, but we know why it didn't work, because it never broke the pre-market lows. Swipe. These candles should tell you that maybe this short is not going to work. That's your warning, right? So let's look at the plan on FedEx. The plan on FedEx was simple. No long under 218, only long if that level holds, short under 512, long 512 calls, neutral bias. So what you see here is as soon as it keeps holding the 218 level, you see the one I mentioned in the pre-market planning. Where did I get this level from? I got this level from the pre-market right here. So we were short. Initially, we were short, but 215 was our target. It became choppy. I said no direction. As it started to call, I told traders close the short. It's a curl, so a lot of traders took the curl here. The target was MTF. I gave the 225 target, and our stops were 222. Finally, it ran from that 220 to give us $5 profit, and then it faded back. You see that you exit here and it faded back. So beautiful trade. Actually, I was very proud of a lot of traders in the community who took that curl. Explorer did pretty good. MK was in the curl. TD Trades, Jaswinder. So there was a lot of traders who took that call. So very proud of that. M Trade took 75% there. So next one we're going to look at is NVO. NVO was a short in the community today. Bad news after bad news on NVO today. So NVO gave the short in the morning. Actually, if you look at the pre-market game plan, NVO was short, bearish bias to short the pops. Bearish bias to short the pops. 69, 69, 70. Right? So you short it right away, or you short it under the pre-market highs, whatever you want to do. I saw it little later. I did tell the trader it's still a short. Put your stops at 68.80, and then it just faded all day long, right? When it started to dip, I told the traders to move the stops at 68, and you see it dipped all the way to 66. No way it moved up. So many chances. You could short the midday fade here, short the pre-market lows here. Just so such a profitable short trade, and that was our plan. Bearish bias to short the pop. So another successful trade there for us on that set. All right. So next one we're going to look at is Circle. Let's look at Circle. So Circle, nothing crazy. It was our day 2 setup. Here you go, Circle. 217 support, 232 resistance. As soon as I see the 3450 rejections, I told the traders that it's a short. Target 200. You can see 3450 reject. We moved the stops to 217. 200 was our target, and we did hit our 200 target in middle of the day. And we stopped us out here, and it was a choppy later in the day. Broke that 200 again. But this was a nice trade. Options doesn't move crazy, but you can see the pre-market planning and the live guidance here. So let's look at coin. There's a lot of gap and crabs today. Profit taking. Coin was not a long. We were looking at for long, but once it broke the 512, it was a short, right? You could fill that gap. You see that gap? It's a bigger picture level is still holding pretty good, but you could literally fill this gap for the short. Pretty easy setup there. Let's look at some other. See, the day 2 setups are stress-free. This strategy you should learn. Look at Snow. Okay, let's see here. Let's look at all of our day 2 setups. Snow, Coin, CRM, bunch of other setups we had, which was hymns, and many day 2 setups were there. Look at Core Weave. So all these setups, they were stress-free. You can see that. You take a short 3450 MTF long, right? I just showed you the circle. Let's look at CRM. You could short this MTF, short it, right? Short it so much. You don't have to play everything, but day 2, 3s are stress-free, right? You just have to watch your entry, put your stops over the cloud, ride the puts all the way down. Easy trades, stress-free trades, right? Same thing we happened on Snow, faded from the clouds to the MTFs. Same thing happened. Hymns rejected the 1 hour cloud. So many day 2 setups which were flawless, right? Flawless setups. So that's why you need to focus on them. Ripster clouds will provide you such a high probability trading on these guys. You just need to find a trend and just nail it. Just hold all the way down. Core we faded beautifully. All these trades in the community, the traders are always on top of these day 2 setups. You see the Core Weave, beautiful. Everybody was trading. Gabriel was on top of it. You can look at CRM trader was a short on CRM. Snow, a lot of traders were short on Snow. You can see that how we trade these repeatable setups with confidence, because this works, but it won't work if you're looking for a shortcut. It would work for you if you're looking for longevity, lifetime success. All right, guys, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.